Hey folks, it's Wade the Shoe Dog. We're down here in the workshop, and I want to show you a few things. We had this pair of blazers down here, and I walked you through sort of the quality study, right? Comparing the real one to a fake one. But the other thing I want to do here, and we'll get the box out of the way because we don't need this, is why this shoe is made the way it is. And just explain a little bit about sort of when you're looking at a modern shoe, there's a lot of design decision, some would say compromise, that you make in a shoe like this to make it cost what it costs, right? Because, I mean, first things first, this shoe, it cost $110 or $115, right? And like, why is that, right? I mean, why? How come? Shouldn't this shoe be made with a lot higher materials if it's so expensive? But what I want to share with you is that when you look at a shoe like this, that's $100 or say $115. Oh, there's a little glue on there. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I didn't catch that, and during the first thing, and actually it looks like a little just glue. All right, but so the thing about it is, okay, so you pay $115 for this shoe. That's the retail price. So the store, in fact, they buy it for about half that, sometimes a little bit less, right? So if this shoe's $115, then you're looking at somewhere around $60, $58, $55, right? So that's what Nike is selling it for. And you have to remember what Nike is doing. Okay, so the store takes half, right? So why do they need that half? Well, they need half because A, they got to borrow the money to buy it. And B, they got to keep the lights on. Even if they have a warehouse, you still have to, pay rent and pay workers and the whole deal. So that's where half of it goes. And the other 50, so Nike sold it for, say, $50, right? And then of course, Nike has to buy it, right? And they have to ship it. So, this shoe, you figure Nike is going to double they're going to try to double their money on it, right? Everyone that touches it doubles it, right? So if Nike is selling it for $55, then they landed it for somewhere around $20, right? So in the factory, on the other hand, they got to make money on the thing too. So about half of the factory's price of $20 could be, we say, labor overhead profit, right? So what it takes to make the thing, the overhead for the factory to keep the lights on, and then labor, what it takes for the people to make all these components. And there's labor in every single component, right? Even though they buy the label from a label factory, the label factory has to put labor in it, okay? So that leaves about $10 for the material. Outsole's a couple bucks. Leather on a shoe like this, right? You say about 2 square feet, right? 2 square feet to make a pair. And the cheapest suede right now is probably $1.50 a square foot. So you're easy, and then this action leather could be somewhere around, well, I mean, suede could be $1.50. If it's nice suede, a little bit more. If it's full grain, you could be looking at $4 a square foot. So all of a sudden that's $8. That's the entire material cost of a shoe. That's why this shoe is not made out of full grain. Okay, so let's talk about what this shoe is made out of to make that price, right? So when you look at this shoe, you look at all this smooth leather and you say, oh, okay, this is what nice, smooth, full grain looks like. But that's not what this shoe is made out of. I mean, this shoe only costs $110, right? But now that I've showed you, walked it backwards as to what all that is, you realize this thing cannot be made out of expensive full grain. So what is it made out of? Well, when you look at the toe tip, that is real suede leather. Great. What is suede? You have to think about suede leather it's kind of like a hide is kind of like your fingers here, right? The top here is the smooth layer. You peel that off, all right? And you make basketballs and sofas and fancy stuff out of that. This next layer down inside to the animal, this is the suede, right? That's what this is, right? And if you cut deeper in, because the hide is thick, it could be 10 millimeters, right? And you're splitting off the different grades, which is why we call this split suede, because it's a split of the hide. You take off the full grain, the smooth leather, right, the skin of the animal, and then you're left with the suede underneath. And then the deeper you go into the animal, the softer the suede gets. Okay. Hey, if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, you want to check out our shoe material design guide, but back to the point of this shoe, right? So the other thing we talked about, I didn't mention, but what Nike has to do is they have to import this shoe. And importing means shipping, but it also means paying import duty, right? So if you're buying a shoe in China or Vietnam or anywhere else, you have to import the shoe and you have to pay a tax to the US government when you import the shoe. So in this case, this shoe is leather. So that means that you have to add 9.5% onto the factory price of this shoe. So almost 10%. So if this shoe costs $20, you got to add almost $2 onto the cost of the shoe. Now, pass that on. That ends up being $8 or $10 when you get to the retail of it. So there's some things there that you can't see, right, that are actually inside the shoe. So this shoe, to be classified as leather duty, more than 50% of the surface area, right, has to be real leather. So this is real leather. This is real leather. This swoosh here actually is not. This is a man-made material. This eye-stay component, this actually is not man-made material. Sorry, this is not leather. This is a man-made material. And actually, this back tab here, this is also man-made material. And I can see we're only counting the outside of the shoe, and for the sake of duty calculations, you actually don't count the tongue. I know these are crazy rules. So when you look at the shoe, you see that, and I can see when we look at the cross section here, right? We'll get close. You'll see this gray stuff, right? That's actually chrome tanned leather. So you see how that surface looks like it's suede? That's because it is suede, right? So they've taken the suede and they've put this thin layer of plastic coating on it. Now, this plastic coating has to be quite thin because that thin coating still, this shoe is classified as leather, even though that outer surface is a thin coating of plastic. This is what we call action leather. And this, action leather can be embossed to look like full grain, right? But it is essentially waterproof. It's ultra durable. It's inexpensive. It looks nice. It wipes clean. You could walk around and get it wet and it won't get ruined. You don't have to treat it like a beautiful leather shoe. It still actually has the character of leather, the way it stretches and flexes, and that's all good stuff, but it's inexpensive. So when you look at any sort of white, smooth shoe like this, look closely because you'll see that and if you see a little gray edge, and here you can see that gray edge, that means it's a split suede. So they've tanned it, which gives it that sort of grayish color, and then they've put that plastic coating on it. Again, it's ultra common material. And then again, so you see they've got real suede, the tip here, the vamp, the quarter is action leather, the back tab, the swoosh, and the eye stay are synthetic material. These synthetic materials are way less expensive, where, leather is, could be $1.25 or $1.50 a square foot for this action leather and suede leather. This synthetic leather, even the good stuff, could be, maybe $5 a square yard, right? So that's why it's inexpensive. So anyways, folks, so when you think about what goes into a shoe, and then hey, there's no EVA on the inside. Yeah, that could be an extra $1 if you had molded EVA on the inside. So this egg crate and an EVA footbed, yeah, this stuff's not very nice. It's pretty inexpensive. But I just want you to understand where the cost of the shoe comes from and why it's made this way. And then these are the kind of cost calculations that have to be made for every kind of shoe, because not every shoe can be beautiful, white, expensive, full grain. Now, Nike probably makes a VIP version of the Blazer, or has, that's nice, full grain. But for this, every day, go to school, white shoe, this plastic coated action leather is very typical, and it's still treated as if it was as if it's leather, so you can import it at 10%. If this was fabric, the shoe would be 20%. So anyways, that's kind of why this Blazer is made that way. There's nothing insidious about it. That's just how you make an expensive shoe. Hey folks, thank you for watching the Shoemakers Academy. If you want to learn more about why big companies make shoes this way, again, it's all cost calculation. If you want to learn more about that, check out our courses we have available at shoemakersacademy.com. And we have an entire book called the Shoe Material Design Guide. It'll be on screen somewhere, like maybe right here. You'll see it on screen over here. And you can get that book on Amazon, or you can get it at shoemakersacademy.com. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Wade the Shoe Dog. Have a nice day.